My name is Jimmy Armstrong, and I play in a band called 48 Thrills. I also do the booking at the Twilight Cafe, as well as the Foggy Notion in North Portland. We just did our 10-year anniversary show a little while back. We have been a band for 10 years. It's crazy to me. We are, four dudes that love playing music, and love hanging out. I don't think we've ever had like a serious band fight. We've recorded 2 full-length albums and 2 EPs, and in the next few weeks we will be shooting a video for 2 unreleased songs that we should have out hopefully by February. Oh, so we recently added David Conway, who was in a band called Absent Minds, as well as Danger Death Ray. He took over for Mike Dennis, who played guitar for us for 9.5 years, and we kind of decided to go our separate ways. It was a mutual thing, and we're both still friends. We get beers. We try to every week, and we're all good. Great. He is bringing a lot of vocals to the band, which, Mike did too, but Davey kind of, has his different style. He needs a new guitar amp, people. Not really. He's doing great. He's really energetic, and that's cool to look over and see somebody jumping around. It kind of added some oomph to our attitude towards the band, I guess. Yes, that's awesome. Well, it's awesome. We flew down last year as well as this year, and Labor Day weekend. It's like 60 bands, 70 bands. It's like a pop punk heaven. The promoters and the bookers that put that show together are amazing, and they work on it all year long and are great at what they do. And we have a blast every time we play, and we're just stoked that we even got invited twice. Barmageddon. Oh, where do I start? Well, in 2010, myself and our guitar player from 48 Thrills, Mike, ex-guitar player, had been cooking at Katie O'Brien's for like 5 years. Katie O'Brien's is a little dive bar on 28th and Sandy, and the owner at the time said, I think it was my 30th birthday, and I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, can we do like a punk rock show in the corner and have my band play, and like we'll bring all of our own gear? And he said, sure. And we did it, and it was great, and everybody had a good time, and it sounded really good in that room. And so I approached him about, maybe doing some more shows. We did that show, and it was like a $2,000 night, which was like the best night they'd had in years. And so myself and Mike got together, and we built a decent little PA system with a very small budget, and started doing shows like every other Friday, and then every other Friday turned into every Friday. And then word got out that we were doing shows, and I said, hey, I'll take on the booking, no problem. I'd love to. And from then on out, we just started booking shows as much as we could. And about 1.5 years into it, we started getting noise complaints. The LCC had some issues. So basically, at Katie O'Brien's, everything was going great. Everything was cool. And then we got like a 1 a.m. noise curfew. And that 1 a.m. noise curfew turned into a midnight noise curfew. And the next thing that was going to happen was an 11 p.m. curfew, which was, complete bullshit, because if anybody's been in that area of Portland, there's nothing but industrial shit around there. So it was kind of a kick in the ass to everybody for that to happen. They just we basically had to pull the plug on shows, because I don't want to end a show at 11 p.m. on a Friday night, to tell you the truth. I hated rushing the bands off stage. So that's kind of why we stopped doing shows there. And that was in August of 2013, right? 2014. So it was like a year ago, 1.5 years ago. And so around that time when we decided to pull the plug on shows, I think it was August of 2014. Who was it? Robbie from the band Headless Pez knew I was kind of looking for a new booking gig, and he said, "Hey man, Sandy Hut up the road on 14th and Sandy just put in a stage, and word on the street is they're looking to book some punk rock and some metal shows." And so I went over and talked with the owner and the bartenders, and we decided, hey, let's give it a shot. So I did a test run of shows in August, just to see what we needed to do, so we didn't get the noise complaints and we didn't get all of the problems that go with running. Basically, just trying to put punk bands in the corner of a bar or a venue, So I think the first show I did there was it was in the Anxieties, Broken Bodies. The Bone Snatchers, maybe, and it was crazy. We just had a little small PA, little baby PA. It was like what you'd run karaoke out of, little tiny stage. The place went nuts. Our poor security girl at the time, Tila, had her hands full. But we realized, the things we can do to make it safe. That's a big thing with me. And, the Sandy Hut kind of had a reputation. It was nicknamed the Handy Slut. It wasn't a place you'd want to take your wife or your girlfriend on a Friday night. And that's bullshit to me. I want everybody to feel welcome and safe. At the same time, you can get mashed up and have fun. Just, don't take it too far type of deal. And so when we did that first show, we learned a lot. We didn't want anybody to get hurt. We didn't want gear to get broken. We didn't want mic stands falling, in the band's face. So we fixed all that. The owner was behind it. He built a freaking wall to barrier the sound from the front door. We beefed up the PA again with the help of Mike Dennis. He's one of the best sound engineers in Portland, I think, but he doesn't, he wants to build couches and coffee tables. So, right now. But he came in and we built, got a PA. I think we actually spent all of our Thanksgiving, 2 days installing that PA. Well, they did. I drank a lot and watched. I picked up some drywall or something. So, yeah, we had beefed up the PA. Everything was going great. We had security in check. And things were going cool. Not many noise complaints. We had Voodoo Donuts right across the street, so you had that whole crew, coming in and making things weird, And the next thing I know, in fact, New Year's December 30th, we ended up having the Dwarves play there, and everybody thought the place was just going to get torn down, and we weren't going to let that happen. We weren't going to let anybody get hurt, and nobody did. We had adequate security. The band was amazing, super cool dudes. Everybody involved was just great. It was a huge team effort, and it went off great. And the worst that happened for that show was there was an ice cream sandwich thrown at the band, and if that's all you got, great, because we didn't want that. And there are ways to have cool shows, with cool bands without people getting hurt or, doing stupid shit. So yeah, everything was going great. I had, in January of 2015, I was booked up until March or April, and I usually don't do that for obvious reasons. Some bands don't last that long. Tours fall through all the time. So I usually only try to book 2 or 3 months out. And so I kind of broke my own rules of booking too far out. In late January, I heard rumors, going around that the owner was looking to sell. And I straight up asked him what was going on. And he goes, just talk, nothing, book away, keep booking. So I did. At the Sandy Hut, one of the things that made that place thrive were the 2 bartenders and the cook and the whole team. It was just great. Everybody there was kicking ass and working hard, but having a good time doing it. So yeah, late January, the owner approaches me and he goes, "Well, I think we are going to sell, but whoever I sell to, we're going to obligate all of those shows, right?" And he went back and forth, I believe, with a few owners. Make a long story short, it ended up selling to the owners of Club 21. And I thought that was great. To me, that wasn't competition. It was real close to us. It was more of a, cool, if there's a good show tonight at Club 21, we'll go there. Or we'll go to the Sandy Hut. Or we'll split it and go to both shows. So it wasn't like, I was stoked, that the owners had bought the Sandy Hut. And basically, I believe I had 40 shows booked. So do the math on the bands, 3 to 4 members per band. So I'm going, oh man, it's fucking crazy. So yeah, the owners of Club 21 ended up buying the Sandy Hut. And let me tell you, that place, I can't believe it didn't burn down or flood or something. Somebody get really fucked up from the electricity. We never blew fuses really. The place was just tied together, and it had been expanded so many times. The place was built in 1924, I think, so it was a really old building. So when those guys took over, there was no way they could have kept doing shows. They needed to gut the place, really, and that's what they ended up doing. And I talked to Marcus from Club 21 and Gold Dust and a few other bars in Portland. And those guys were super chill and really cool. If they could do shows, they would, but that, the neighborhood's changing. And the original owners of the Sandy Hut, they didn't, it's still in their family. And they were getting sick of, the nickname Handy Slut, and just, rock and roll shows in the corner, type of deal is what pretty much happened. So they were, from what I was told, the building was going to be demolished. Because they were just done with it. And Marcus and Warren offered to take it over, and they said, well, what if we renovate it, make it nice how it used to be in the heyday of the 60s and 70s. And that's exactly what they did, and it looks great. Again, there's, a lot of people were like, these dudes are coming in and taking out a piece of, Portland history, and that's not really what happened at all. If those guys didn't buy it, it would be condos by now, so... I think what they did was a good thing. It's a bummer. We did put a lot of work into the stage and the PA and all, everything. It was almost too good of a thing. That has been a nightmare. When I first started booking at Katie O'Brien's, I've always, something I've never really been able to do, and I want to do is tour a lot. And that's one thing I told myself when I started booking. You have to take care of these touring bands. Whether I've booked touring bands where they're on a weekender from Seattle, and I've booked touring bands that are on a national world tour and national tours, and every band we try to, really treat well and the same because it's tough out there. So one of the things that I lost and the community lost and the touring bands lost and everybody lost when all of the venues started shutting down in Portland, I would email the No or, give contacts to East End or Slabtown if I couldn't book them. And I'd be like, well, hit these guys up. Ash Street Saloon. One of the, I had a list of about 10 venues that treated the bands well and sounded good and were cool and just had a good reputation. And that list has shrunk to about 2 or 3 venues in Portland. So it's definitely affected, I think, a lot of people's, jobs and what they do. Yeah. It's really hard with rent increases to keep the doors open of venues, and especially the places, I work, have worked, or want to work. I highly believe, if people pay to see a band, that money should go to the band. The bar, they're going to drink at the bar, they're going to eat at the bar or the venue. I think, we can go into the all ages scene for an hour or 2 or 3 about this. A lot of it is just the rent increase and the property tax increase for bars and venues. It's becoming unaffordable. So I see a lot of venues moving east, but that's a little far out,
Cutting loose, he's drinking juice.